What if Judas had asked Jesus for forgiveness? Have you ever stopped to think about this? Not why Judas betrayed Jesus. We've heard that story many times. But what if Judas had done one thing differently? What if, instead of running away in shame, he had gone back to Jesus and asked for forgiveness? The more I think about that question, the more fascinating it becomes. After all, Peter also failed Jesus. He didn't betray him for money, but he denied even knowing him 3 times. Yet Peter became one of the greatest leaders of the early church. Judas, on the other hand, was overwhelmed by guilt. He admitted that he had sinned. He even returned the silver, but he never went back to Jesus. Here's how I see it. Maybe the biggest difference between Peter and Judas wasn't the size of their sin. Maybe it was where they took their guilt. Peter carried his failure to Jesus. Judas carried his failure by himself. And guilt has a way of becoming heavier when we try to carry it alone. I sometimes wonder, if Judas had fallen at Jesus' feet the same way Peter eventually did, would his story have ended differently? The Bible doesn't answer that question directly, so I can't pretend to know. But I do know this. The Bible repeatedly shows Jesus forgiving people who sincerely turn back to him. Maybe the saddest part of Judas' story wasn't simply that he betrayed Jesus. Maybe it was that he never stayed alive long enough to discover what forgiveness might have looked like. That's just how I see it. What do you think?